Hello, welcome, and I want to do another speed draw. This one is different from the other two I've done, where I do a little bit of planning until I'm taking my time measuring out the size and squares. I had been thinking about what I wanted this to be for a while before I started drawing, so I went with that, and I just kind of like let the geometric shapes go from there. I don't normally plan like this. There's always one or two per coloring book project that has planning, and one thing that would have made this 1,000 times easier is if I found a compass. I have one somewhere. I do not know where it is, but I really like how this turned out. Once I got all the pencils down, I inked the lines, and the markers really shine in this kind of work because this would have taken me a really long time with pens, and I always just kind of randomly jump around when drawing outlines and getting shapes and whatnot down. It is easy. I find it easier for me to use like pencil first and then lines. And one of the benefits of the markers is I can erase almost immediately upon marking with the ink because it dries so quickly. Pens would have smudged like crazy and I would have had to continue to draw or wait. So that is obviously one of the benefits. Now, these shapes aren't perfect. I didn't use as many tools as probably would require for something like this. But once it's all the shapes are filled in and it's inked, you can't really tell. No one's going to be measuring this to make it perfect or make sure it's perfect. So I like the faceted gem design. The center square, I simply did concentric lines, getting thicker as they get small, as the square gets smaller. I thought that would be a nice hypnotic addition to make for the, what's it called? I guess centerpiece. And I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. If you like this content, I'm going to be posting lots more, so I would love it if you considered liking and subscribing. Any support or feedback is welcome. I'm always trying to improve. And back to the drawing. After doing those concentric lines, I go to the facet, I guess you could say, and I did outline, and then I just filled it in with random patterns. I felt this would work, and of course, as always, I filmed this over the course of a week, especially since this week I was extremely tired. I'm working on upping my mileage for my ultra training, so I obviously didn't continue exactly where I left off. That's fine. Normally I do bounce around, but this one I actually followed a pattern with filling in the shapes a little more. Really, with this kind of art, you can just bounce around, do whatever feels good. Very, very eclectic and fun. And even in the case of something with a lot of planning, I had an idea of what I wanted the patterns to be, and even with planning, you can have fun with it. You can get funny and do all sorts of weird stuff. This one was such a nice little break. I really like planning ahead, and in a weird way, this one took less brain power to draw than the previous one. The previous one was just random patterns like this all the way through. There was no rhyme or reason. I was just doing what felt good. And that took a lot of thinking while drawing it because I didn't know what would come next. I didn't know how to follow the pattern. Like, this one was a lot easier since I had a pattern to follow and I could just let it grow and just kind of let the variation come as it comes, which was a wonderful breath of fresh air. I want to do more planning in my art. Not all the time. Not every piece is going to be intricate planned like this. And I like doing pieces like this because they kind of remind me of mosaics from like Spain or Italy and those old chateaus or whatever you want to call them. And it's just really, really fun to make. It feels like I'm doing tile work, and it is always just a pleasure. And you can tell that this one took quite some time. I was drawing for, who knows, this is 12 times speed, and it's over, and the footage I have is over 12 minutes long at 12 times speed. So if somebody watches this who likes doing math, feel free to calculate. I don't usually time myself. I usually just watch videos while drawing. Lately, I've been watching a lot of Hollow Knight content because I guess that's the season I'm in. But I just I needed something for background noise. Drawing in silence is not the easiest to do, but it's possible. But for these, having background noise is always the best. And I don't know if I'm the only one, but for some reason, I don't like drawing in silence. And I can't just watch TV. I need to fiddle with something. I need to do something, either run on the treadmill or knit or draw. So this is an excellent way for me to catch up on some shows while also just being productive, I guess. So it's a double whammy. And so for each of the corner boxes, I wanted to do a similar dot pattern, similar to what I did in my second speed draw. This dot pattern I didn't have exactly the same, and I wanted to have it not touch the borders. Not really sure why. Sometimes in art pieces, I really like it when the patterns go all the way to the border and like physically like connect. And others, I just feel like, let's leave that empty space there. There's no rhyme or reason behind that decision. And in the weird, I call it a ripple, or like a slime, which I did in the middle boxes. I went straight to the edge and had it connect, so it's one solid piece. So really, it's haphazard in a way. Like, I don't, it's some patterns I like it, some I don't, and that's okay. Like, my art is consistently inconsistent. And what I like about these patterns is they match, but they're not identical. It's not like perfectly symmetrical. So it's like it follows a pattern, but it's very, very wacky. I like that. And of course, the markers are shining with the dots again, helping me fill in something that would have taken me hours. Takes me like a minute, which is wonderful. And these markers, their lifespan is honestly kind of shocking. I'm used to markers or pens like this dying one drawing in. So, definitely, what brand are they? They are, I don't see a brand name on the package. So I don't know what brand they are. They say Microline pens. I picked them off Amazon because they were reasonably priced and had really good reviews. So I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. I was sick of the gel pens. What's it called? Bleeding all the time and then not writing all the time, and it was just a headache. So I gave markers a second time, and so far I'm not regretting that choice. And instead of jumping around randomly on this drawing, I kind of just followed a pattern, went block by block, which is honestly a little unusual for me. Normally my brain wants me to, has me jump around like crazy, and I think just because of the planning and how each little outline had its own blocks, and it felt like I was doing little segments instead of just one big drawing, which probably helped, but I mean, whether you go left or right with these kind of drawings, at the end of the day, you come out with a piece of art. It is just a blast. And even like the way the dots are, they're not the same throughout, and I really like that, which made patterns really unique. I think this one will make a really good coloring page, both in the form that it is right now, and then once I go into editing mode and make it color inverse so the black and white will be flipped. I think both would make really interesting coloring pages, which is usually my goal on projects like this. And I mean, I'm going to continue to try to get one of these out a week. We'll see how well that goes, especially since I've been training like a maniac. I'll just keep doing this until the soul leaves my body. It's fine. But honestly, doing these drawings doesn't feel like a chore, so that's good. The only downside is you can't really tell, but I get really stiff and fidgety sitting in my chair. So that is one thing. It's not the most ergonomic setup, simply because I am short and this desk was not designed for short people. Seriously, like my chair is right as high as it can be without squishing my legs, and I still kind of have to stretch my arms up to draw. But I mean, I love my desk. It's really nice little workspace, but yeah, not the most ergonomic for short people, but really handy. So and I don't sit like a normal person. I sit in all sorts of weird positions. So I get fidgety, but especially as in multiple hours of drawing patterns. And and this one, I really liked the result because it didn't feel like I was running out of ideas. You'll notice the last one, if you've watched it, I fill in the areas solid black that I don't know what to do with. This one, there's very few areas like that. I think that's because it followed a pattern all the way through, and it's really unique. Very funny. And I don't know, it's just really fun. And the scribbles, I'm going to actually, the weird ripple pattern I'm calling it, I don't know what else you would call it, I'm gonna probably in the next week try to make a tutorial on how I do that. And I don't know what else, but I'm gonna try to make a tutorial doing that, and then I guess I'll do a speed draw of finishing that drawing. I have an idea of what I want the drawing to be, but yeah, we'll get to it. And then I fill in the last square, and the drawing's just about done. I really, my commentary is piss poor, honestly, but we're getting there. We're getting better. So there's a complete drawing. Honestly, I really like this one. I want to put more planning into some of them. Some of them I want to keep just haphazard, mindless drawing, and that's fine, but doing a little bit of both keeps things fresh, keeps things interesting, and is always a blast. So, as always, I'd love your feedback, and I'll catch you in the next one.